Well, it's that time. It's Thursday. It's time for the Miller's Edge Extra. Kicking it live with you. Hope you're doing well wherever you are tuning in from. Hope you had a great day. I'm Pastor Payne. They call me Corey Miller, but they really call me Pastor Payne. Along with Christian Miller, we have a radio show on the Tide 100.9 weekdays, 11 Central Time until noon. You can catch us there every single day, but we started the Miller's Edge Extra because we wanted some more time to spend with you, chat with you, break down some ball, throw out some more opinions, hear your questions, and just have a good time. I know Coach Saban will be speaking later on as well, so we'll keep an eye on what he's got to say about the big matchup that's going to happen right there in Tuscaloosa, Bryant-Denny Stadium, 2:30, CBS game. Lane Kiffin is headed back to town. Pete Golden, the guy that everybody wanted gone as a defensive coordinator, well, he's coming back with Lane Kiffin. What will he do? What will he do? We're going to get into some of that tonight. I know we're going to definitely talk about Jalen Milroe. We're going to talk about the quarterback situation, him being number one now as the quarterback. We'll rehash a little bit USF, but we kind of want to put that to bed and move along because this game that's going to happen on Saturday is going to be one of the most important games that Alabama's played in a long time. And you may ask me why. Well, why? Because I think this sets the tempo or the direction in which this football team is going. Will it trend? Will it turn in the right direction? Can they get to 1-0? The first game of the SEC, it's an SEC West game. And I think it is massive. I mean, absolutely massive for Alabama to win this game. So we're going to get into that. Make sure you comment. Make sure you subscribe and like in the comment section, wherever you do that little thing. I'm new at the whole, subscribe and like. But you know what to do there. We'll get into the program. Christian Miller is down in Tuscaloosa. I'm in Columbia, South Carolina, where we are from. So a lot of other interesting ball games too to get into if you want to do some of that in the SEC. I know South Carolina is hosting Mississippi State, the team that Alabama will play next week down in Stark Vegas. So a lot we can get into. We talk NFL ball. Looks like Bryce Young, former Alabama quarterback, is going to be out in this ball game. Did not practice today. Charlotte is about 1 hour drive, 77 north from where I'm sitting right now. So it looks like Bryce Young is going to be out with a sprained ankle. So if you want to have that conversation, we can have it too. But let's get to the matter at hand, Christian. It's the Alabama Crimson Tide. I mean, 2-1. I'm so used to saying undefeated, 2-1. The game last week, let me just revisit just for a minute. It was horrible. Let's not sugarcoat it. Let's not try to tiptoe around it. The game was absolutely horrible, right? This was a team that won one game, I think maybe in the last couple of years. Jeff Scott, who was at Clemson, took over, did not do a good job down there at South Florida. They were terrible. And we all thought that Alabama was going to go down there and just run through this football team like diarrhea. They should have. If we looked at the talent level and compared, 5 stars, 4 stars, Alabama would just crush them. But they didn't do it on the football field. And the question is why? After losing a game to Texas, after players saying, hey, we're pissed off, we're going to bounce back. After Nick Saban saying, hey, you know what? I would be shocked, his words, if my team did not respond. Well, they didn't. They came out flat. They came out as if they didn't even want to be there. They came out like, who cares? And it was horrible. I mean, 3-3 games, and the weather came in. You had the weather delayed and the halftime, and I get all of that. But just the way that they started the game suggested to me not prepared to play. It suggests to me that maybe the scuttlebutt that was out there about issues in the locker room, players not wanting to play for Tyler Buckner. By the way, we told you what that was going to look like. So everybody had a chance to see it, and I'm glad they did. That he shouldn't have been the starter. I said that Milroe should have started the game, got a commanding lead. Then, if you wanted to play Buckner and or Ty Simpson, you put them in a ballgame. But no, I mean, it looked horrible. It was hard to watch. That game was hard to stomach. And I just asked myself numerous times, like, what in the world is going on with Alabama? This didn't even look like an Alabama team. So we'll get into some of that because the locker room obviously might have been divided. I'm not saying that they were, Christian. It could have been some issues there. I'm not saying that they were, but if you go by what we watched, there was no synergy, no continuity, no togetherness, no unity. We had Proctor let the guy run right around him, hit Ty Simpson square in the back, and he just turned around. he didn't help him up. I mean, normally if you got those what we call lookout, those lookout blocks, right? I mean, you help your dude up. You at least say, hey, man, my bad, dog. I got you the next time. No, he just turned right around. What the heck is going on? Well, they won it for 17-3, but ugly performance. Now the question I'm gonna ask you tonight, folks, will they bounce back? Will we see finally that Jalen Milroe has been announced as the guy? He has played the best, which we all knew. We didn't need to make 17, 10, 15, 12, $2 billion to tell you that was the best player for the position. How will they respond? Can this team bounce back? Can this team man up, if you will, and play the kind of football that Alabama expects to play? Nick Saban phrases it as winning football, right? That's what he calls it. Will we see that against his former offensive coordinator and his former defensive coordinator? It is a massive game, Christian, for Nick Saban. He just lost to a former assistant in Steve Sarkisian. It is a massive game for this program because it's going to set the direction for the season. Is it going to be a bounce back season? Is it going to be one that's going in the toilet bowl? This game will decide. 2:30 CBS, Bryant-Denny Stadium, 100,000 people. What will it look like? That's the big question in our program tonight.
Is it my turn?
Well, you've been gone. Your pitch has been gone. What you've been doing? I'm like, well, I got the show by myself.
No, you're good.
I got broad shoulders.
You're good.
Bring it on. Let's go.
Okay. Always looking for a reason to flex. No. I was getting everything situated because we also have a special guest joining us. So I was just trying to get everything. Yeah, I'm working behind the scenes. So yeah, take it away. Okay. Next time I'll let your
just let me know that's over. What I got to do. Then I'll make sure
you're good. Well, we needed a refresher. We talked a lot about the game right last week. But we needed a refresher. But first and foremost, appreciate everybody joining us this evening on the second edition of the Miller's Edge Extra. Excited to have everybody in here. Sorry for the delay. Like I said, we're just trying to get everything going, but now we're set up and we're rolling. But no, I think you're right. This is a statement game. It's a make or break game for this season. I've heard some people go as far as saying it's a make or break game for Coach Saban and his career.
Not
buying into that. No, absolutely not. For this season, yeah. I mean, because you dropped the game to Texas already, non-conference. And we've said this, but we'll say it again just real quick. Every goal is still attainable. Every goal is still achievable, right? So that's the fact of the matter. Everything is behind us. The Texas game is behind us. USF is behind us. None of that matters, right? All that matters is what you do forward. The most important game right now is the next game. And right now, that's Ole Miss. And so, look, Alabama has a big challenge on their hands. We saw what Sarkisian was able to come into Tuscaloosa and do, with his experience working with Coach Saban. Now you not only have the head coach and Lane Kiffin with experience working with Coach Saban, but you also have Pete Golden, which a lot of you fans, you guys wanted him out of here, right? You got what you're wanting, right? And now he's getting ready to come back to Tuscaloosa with maybe a vengeance. I don't know. But like I said, it's going to be a big challenge. Watching these guys on tape, I know they hadn't necessarily played anybody other than Tulane. It's a decent football team, but they do a lot of things really well. And you're facing a very smart, very innovative, very successful football coach, Lane Kiffin, and it's going to be a tough challenge. But what makes me feel good about it is our defense. There's been all these, areas of issues so far this season, right? A lot of people complaining about this doesn't look like Alabama. What are we seeing? What's going on? The bright spot, to me at least, is the defense. They've been consistent for the most part. They've played, let's see, pretty much very solid for every part of the season so far except one quarter. Now would probably be the fourth quarter of the Texas game, I'd say, right?
Yeah.
So
agreed.
Yeah. So I mean, what would that 11 out of 12 quarters, right? They've been solid. They've been stout. They've been stellar, right? Really good. And so that gives me confidence going into this game. But I will say it's going to be no easy feat. But I actually just came from practice. I was up there watching practice. Got to catch up with some of my old teammates. Reggie Ragland was up there. Jake Coker, I met him up there. Me and him were talking, and so we met each other up there when watched practice together. Then Clinton Dix, who's on the staff, he obviously was up there. But we all were catching up, so it had some great fellowship with some B-Side 5 guys. But anyway, look, I mean, the guys looked ready. They looked like they had a good attitude on their head today, and they look like they're ready to go. And I'm excited for this matchup. I'll be honest. I think it's going to be a teeth grinder, right? I think it's going to be close. It's going to go back and forth. Might look a little similar to Texas. Just hopefully we're on the other end this time. But look, that's what you signed up for, and we're getting into SEC play. I'm really excited to see how we do in this game. I mean, last year, I'll be honest, Ole Miss was a tough game last year. Yeah, we were on the road, but we also had Bryce Young, and ended up coming down to us stopping them in the red zone, a really good stop. And these guys, I'm telling you right now, everybody always wants to play Alabama, but right now, the way Alabama struggled this season, the target on our back is even bigger. It's bigger than ever before, right? Not only for the players that you're playing against, but these coaches, right? Guys like Lane Kiffin, they're licking at the chops. They think this is a vulnerable Alabama football team. So I stand with you. Yeah. And so I stand with you in terms of they have to have the right mindset. They have to have the right mentality. That was the biggest thing that disappointed me last week. I thought they were going to come out swinging, guns a-blazing. You lost to Texas. You should be pissed off. We heard that in the media. And then what happened? They come out dulled. They come out flat. They almost look lifeless, right? So you can't come out that way this week, right? If you do, you're dead in the water, and you might as well throw the season out, right? I mean, you got to get your mind right, and I think that's what we'll see. I'll be honest. Like I said, I love the fact that we heard Coach Saban come out say Jalen Milroe is our guy. He didn't just stop there. I don't know if you guys listen to the Pat McAfee show. He goes on there every Thursday. He was on there today. And he basically stood by that statement. He said, yeah, look, Jalen is our guy. We're confident in him. We're confident that he's the best man for us, that gives us the best chance to win. And I like that. I like that he's publicly backing this guy because that instills confidence in him. And I told you, the reason, in my opinion, when you were saying, well, why wouldn't he just say, oh, he's our guy initially? Why does it have to be like for this week? And I told you, we heard Coach Saban does not like rat poison. The last thing he's going to do is give his own team rat poison. He worries that if he says, hey, this is our guy, we're right. He just doesn't want the guy to get big-headed or conceited and think, okay, I don't have to work as hard. I'm just telling you, I know you shake your head, but that's how he operates. That's how he thinks. So that's all that was. But we're seeing and hearing him even more confident. And I think he likes what they have brewing. Like I said, I was at practice not too long. Matter of fact, I just left about an hour ago. And I like what I see. Obviously, I'm not going to get on here and share a whole bunch of.
You're going to tell us the game plan?
No, I can't do that. But what I will say is I like what I'm seeing being done now that they've kind of selected their guys, and to see it start taking shape. It looks like, I guess it's hard for me to say something without saying too much, but basically it looks like they picked a guy and they're starting to take shape. They're trying to basically
figure out their
find
identity.
Their identity.
They're
figuring out their identity. Sorry, that was a.
I told him that though. I told him that 2 weeks ago. How you got to figure that out? I mean, like every coach can look at your team and go, well, I know what we got, right? It don't take but a couple of practices to look at your team shaping and being molded and go, you know what? We're not our offense, this drop back offense is not going to work. It's like, you know, Ty Simpson, not ready, got a great arm, going to be a great football player probably. But let me stick this cake back in the oven, right? Well, Tommy Reese, we brought in Tyler Buckner. He knows kind of your offense, but still we running the Bama offense. Let's try him. Let's try them out. I was at the scrimmage. I left. That's all I needed to see. Terrible. I mean, but I saw that and also in the Gator Bowl last year. I keep harping on that. That's why I tweeted out those highlights. Like, I knew that wasn't going to be the guy. But then I see Jalen Milroe, the scrimmage that I went to, 14 for 18. Oh, way over 200 yards. Beautiful bombs, running the football.
Hold on. No, I'm sorry, but the comment section, they got jokes today. They're over here talking about my mustache. I didn't mean to cut you off. Remember what you're talking about. They said if TD Jakes was an Alabama fan, he looked like a Nebraska fan. I'm sorry.
That's why, Greg, that's why I shaved the beard off. I mean, I be watching TD Jakes preach, and people, I hear that so much. Slap somebody, give them a high five, and say, Alabama is going to bounce back. Look at your neighbor and say, they doubting you. They talking about you, but you got to have a purpose and a plan and be still, the Bible says, and know that we are Alabama. Let me stop. But
you were talking about Jalen Milroe's performance. I didn't mean to cut you off. You said you saw
him
airing it
my
out.
point is, that practice of the scrimmage that I went to, 14 of 18. I know that because there were guys up there keeping stats, and I was sitting in the same press box. 200 and way over 200 yards and several touchdowns. And could have had 3 or 4 rushing touchdowns, but they blow the whistle, right? So all I needed to see was that Jalen Milroe was the guy. So what you do now, you implement, you get your number 2 pencil, a pen in my case, and you say, okay, here's what I know. Jalen Milroe is a freaking phenomenal athlete. Jalen Milroe is extremely fast, one of the fastest players on this football team. Jalen Milroe is one of the best deep ball throwers in college football. Okay? Negatives. Jalen Milroe isn't the type that's going to read a defense and go through his progression. Here I go. 1 is taken away. 2. Let me have 3. Okay, here I'm going to throw it down to Charlie. Check down. Not him. Right? That's really the only negative. He's a good leader. He has great confidence. So it shouldn't have taken this long. They should have rolled with it even in the Texas game. I was talking with somebody today, and they said, listen, man, the dude didn't really play that bad. Yeah, everybody was stuck on the 2 interceptions, 10 points. I get it. But then you had 2 touchdowns in that same game. That was 14 points taken off the board. That would have been 4 touchdowns. So if you look at quarterbacks, I mean, it's like Josh Allen. If he have 4 touchdowns and 2 picks, they go, oh, that's a win. And throwing about 60, 70 yards rushing, oh, that's a win. That's what he really had. But everybody was waiting and hoping for him to fail. That is the problem. Nobody really wanted, I don't want to say nobody, but a lot of you, the folks at Alabama, didn't want Jalen Milroe to be the quarterback, period. They was looking for Ty Simpson, that he was going to step in and be the next generational quarterback at Alabama. It wasn't happening. He's not ready. Not saying that he won't be. Matter of fact, in the scrimmage that I went to, I like Lonergan. I think this dude upside is maybe greater than all of them. That's my opinion. But still not ready. But my point is this, Christian. We are where we are. They're 2-1 first quarter, right? We're going to break this season down in quarters. 12 games. This is the 4th game. So the first quarter is finished, right? You're 2-1. Now we end the second quarter of the season. That's why I'm saying flush those 3. Let's go. These count. Make those 3 like preseason games, right? All right, we 2-1 in the preseason. Now is conference time. Now is let's go time. So try the different team out there. You know what you got, right? So get that number 2 pencil out, Tommy Reese, and draw up some ball plays, right? And let this man be free. Free Milrow. Free the dude. Let him play. Don't have him thinking. No football player plays well when he has to think too much. Nobody does. You didn't. I didn't. If I got to think a lot on as a defensive player, I can't play fast.
Slows you down.
So they need to. I don't want to say dumb down the offense. Simplify would be the word that I would use.
Yeah.
Simplify the offense. Call plays that you know that he can do. Ask him. What great offensive coordinators and quarterback coaches do, they ask the player, hey, let's sit down and meet and let's see what you like. Here it is. This is what we're thinking.
Well, they did that with Bryce. I don't know if you remember hearing that. They did that a lot with Bryce. Bryce would watch a lot of tape and he'd come in and they'd discuss, they'd exchange and say, hey, this is what I like in this situation. So I don't know if that's just a trust thing, something that they need to develop. But that's what I kept saying. Like when I kept hearing people say, well, Jalen just, I'm like, well, I'm not saying you force him into a role, but you know what I mean? Just like you said, you can simplify it, but still have that discussion. Like I think the problem was at the time they still were having an open competition. So they weren't there yet. But now that they've flat out come out and endorsed this guy, they've chosen him as a quarterback. Those discussions should be had every day. And I hear Jalen Milrow goes up there first thing in the morning. He's working out, doing a lot of extra stuff. I would almost pull back on some of the physical stuff and just sit in that meeting room. Go meet with Tommy Rees, right? Like Tosh, when he was my coach at outside linebacker, he used to make me go up there and meet with him, right? I knew what to do, but he always made me meet. He'd have cut-ups of NFL pass rushers, people that he thought I could emulate and gain something from. Like, and I'm sure they're doing those things, but I definitely, feel like that'd be beneficial. We got a special guest here join us. I didn't even announce it, but we're going to bring in one of my teammates. Like we might start doing this too, bringing some extra, guests and talk some ball. And we're going to welcome in
here. We need some girth.
But I don't know about that word, but another fellow Alabama linebacker. Not just a two-time, I think he might be a three-time national championship linebacker, but none other than my buddy, my friend, my brother, Josh McMillan. Josh, appreciate you joining in.
Oh,
there he is. Yes, sir.
What's up, Pops? You good?
Bro, what's up? What it is, man? You looking good, my man?
Not much. Just trying to stay out of trouble.
Where you at now? Where you live? You still in T-Town?
No, I'm located in Atlanta, Georgia now. Business consultant for NTT Data Services. So
y'all heard the man. Y'all need some consultant. Hit him up.
Consultant in Atlanta, A-Town. What's up? Let's go.
That's right.
And that's three-time Christian. Just to clarify that, that's three-time national champion. Yeah.
I forgot you got that BS COVID year.
You're older than you, Christian.
No, I'm older than Josh, but I think Josh, you got the COVID year, right?
Yeah, I got the COVID year.
And a medical.
That's right. You won the Mac Jones year.
Oh yeah, that's my team. That's my squad. 15 and
no. You know what?
All SEC schedule. Like that's a
matter of fact. Let's jump right into that because I got a question for that because I wasn't here. I was with Carolina, but let me ask you this because everybody talks about Pete Golden, right? You were coached by him. He was your position coach and coordinator. Now, I was there with him too, but you spent even more time with him. What are your thoughts when you hear people? Not necessarily criticize them, but you know how it was. Like last year, everybody was like, "Oh, we want to get."
They criticize him.
Yeah, they criticize him. They wanted him out of here, right? They wanted his head, right? But you being around him, you were coached by him. You know him better than any of us, besides probably somebody like me or who else played. What are your thoughts on Pete? As we get ready to face him as he comes into Bryant-Denny with Ole Miss this weekend.
Well, to start off, I think defensively, Pete Golden is a defensive guru. Like. He has a lot of packages. He definitely has a plan for everything that you're going to do. I think so much as the thing when we were playing, it was the guys not being able to produce. Like a couple guys coming in, making mental errors, not really paying attention to their keys. So it was just a lot of, people loafing and making mistakes, and that we couldn't have that completeness on their defense. And so that would cause for the play to fall apart. All it takes is for one man not to be able to do his job, and hey, it's a touchdown. So I think when it comes to, his game planning and the schemes that he tends to run in defenses, I think he's a great defensive coordinator. But it's that element as far as getting his players to be all on one page. and be able to execute their game plan.
I literally just said that. Did I not say that today on the show when we talked about it?
You did say that. Yeah,
I said that.
You both said the same thing.
He's a great coach. It's just his ability to get guys to execute. I almost feel like he overcomplicated so much just because he was such a smart guy. He can come up with anything defensively, all type of packages, personnel group. The problem was, I think it was a little bit too much. I said Alabama's playbook was already a very dense playbook. I mean, the Carolina Panthers playbook was probably half the size. So you take an already complicated defense, then you add a guy like Pete Golding who wants to implement even further, right? To add even more things to know, more adjustments, more alignments, assignments. I almost feel like it just kind of got overcomplicated for some guys. And like Josh said, all it takes is for one guy to be out of position. I feel like anytime Alabama struggles, you can go back and watch on tape. One guy is on a different page than everybody else. And that bust turns into a big explosive play and ends up biting us.
Well, therein lies the problem, guys. Okay, I play defense alongside the best outside backer with other line. I mean, Hall of Fame dudes, right? Straight hands to the LTs. Those are my teammates. We balled out there together.
Yeah.
Listen, we used to be so simple, and as a unit, and Bill Belichick to Mike Nolan, my defensive coordinators, to where we ran what we call undercover 2, just under front. We ran a 3-4. We had a great nose tackle. You got to have some strong defensive ends. I played the Sam. LT was the will linebacker. We shut things down. We shut things down playing a 2-shell, stopping the run with 7 men in the box, and got things done. Here's what I'm saying. What I hear you guys saying, that defense of Alabama, yet this man is smart, but yet complicated. When you asking young men I just said this before you came on, Josh, think too much, right? Yeah. If you can have so much talent and make these kids having to think so much when they got to, especially today's game, when you have to have so many checks, you have so much motion, so much shifting, all the window dressing that offenses are giving you, that dictates your responsibility. And on top of that, they're going fast, right? So somebody's going to mess up. So that's why I'm saying, I said this today on our show on the Tide, is that they need to simplify. Sometimes you don't have to get so creative. Sometimes you just, hey, we're going to be a heck of a cover 2 defense, and then if we need to bring pressure, if we need to be man underneath, we can do that, right? We're going to keep guys back deep so nobody gets behind us. You can do so many different things, and they got those kinds of dudes, Josh. I mean, you guys won championships, but think about last year, how many MOs, mental errors, I should say, MEs, did we see against Tennessee, LSU, God knows, about everybody we played, because guys, I saw them many times doing this, looking at the sidelines because they didn't know what they were doing. They can't do this week because Lane going to light them up if that's the case.
Yeah, I definitely agree. When it comes to all those moving pieces, and Lane Kiffin himself is a offensive guru, he's going to challenge those linebackers to make the right calls. He's going to move the wide receiver, to mess around, take the tight end, all the different type of motions and trades. He's going to give you everything to throw you off and make you make the wrong call. So I feel as if you're 100% correct. We got to get guys in the right call and just let them play ball. Like, if we got DBs that can cover and they say they can lock you up the whole game, we just run man the whole entire time. DB's going to be blowed, but hey, look, as long as we know our assignment, that's one less thing we can worry about. So I say we definitely let the guys cover. We send 5, 6 every time and make that quarterback pressure on make him make a decision under pressure. And I feel like if we're able to do that and really execute and play to the Bama standard, that'll be all she wrote. They won't get past 14 on the scoreboard.
Ooh, I like that.
Oh man. Oh. Yeah, that would be nice, Josh. That's going to be a big task now. Jackson Dart, I'll be honest, he looks good. And Judson, or I don't know, I can't remember the dude's last name. That running back, though, really good football player. Yes. But he did something last year. I think he went for 153 on the ground. So
well, he did something last year. He's close to 1,500 on the ground rushing. But
that's what I'm saying. But I think they're a little banged up too, though. I think a couple of their skill guys are banged up, so that's something to look out for. But I think Josh is right. Only thing I'd say is with that man coverage, you better make sure the front is taking care of business, because we saw last week, they gave up. I think Byron Jones had about 100 yards after you take away the negative plays from the sacks. And, with those guys turning their backs on man coverage, if you're not collapsing the pocket and having, the integrity of the rush lanes, Jackson Dart is a mobile guy who can use his legs. So that'd be my only concern. And that's one of my biggest keys this week is containing the quarterback. Like you said, pressuring him, make him one-dimensional, because this is a guy who's pretty much a dual-threat quarterback. He likes to use his legs. He can throw it. He's taking a nice jump from year one, year two. So, that's going to be a big challenge. But I think they're ready for it. Like I said before you got on here, Josh, I mean, the bright spot after, through 3 games, there's been a lot of dim lights, or what Coach Saban say, the flashing lights, they always stand out, right? A lot of issues. There's been a lot, but the defense has been pretty consistent. And that's what gives me comfort in this game. But to your point, Lane Kiffin, we all know he's smart. He's going to dial things up.
Yes.
I don't know, how close you watched that Texas game, but we had gone back and watched it several times. I even watched some, the coach's copy on the tape, and just seeing what Sarkisian was calling and what he was doing in terms of like their route concepts, trying to get guys to bite on the cheese, bite on the underneath, just to get that safety to, hesitate or come up. Lane Kiffin's going to do that same thing. You know what I mean? So up front, they're going to have to help. They got to help those DBs out. They got to, provide some pressure. But our DBs, they have to communicate, and they got to play the integrity of the coverage. Like, don't get beat. Like, play everything deep to short, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, everybody knows that. Like, I heard Marlon was talking about on his little podcast. They call it Big Cheryl. When guys jump, they jump the shallow, they jump the gun. All the good-looking women are in the back. Don't jump the first thing you see. Be patient.
Oh boy.
Hey, no, I like to. Hey, it was great because people. I'm sure people can understand that. They might not get it when you say play deep. Sure, you say Big Cheryl. Hey, people know that. Don't jump on the first woman you see. There's gonna be some more women that come
plenty
your
out
way.
there in the sea.
That's right. Let's see what some of these.
I'm dealing with 2 young bucks that's single. I guess.
No, Josh is married.
I'm a married man.
Yeah, he's a married man. Come on,
my wife downstairs just made me some dinner.
That's right. So you trying to get in trouble. Come on now.
She made you that pimento cheese sandwich downstairs.
Yeah, he's got a good
baby,
one,
get
man.
that kitchen while I do a podcast and make me a pimento cheese sandwich.
Oh, he ain't calling no orders like that. Come on, he can't do that nowadays. Come on.
Women today, right? You just like, listen, it don't work like that.
We together.
We gotta cook.
Exactly.
We gotta cook for them, and we got to, make sure we take, it's like
roles are reversing.
I have to wash dishes and do my laundry,
Good.
iron my clothes.
That's
like,
right.
I was kind of doing that before, but
Adam said, Christian, what's it like to play in front of 100? He's stupid, man. Christian, what is it like playing in front of 100,000 people? Is it intimidating, or do you tune it out? I'll be honest, and I'll let them chime in as well. Adam, I'm one of those people, once I get on the field, like, I almost forget that there's 100,000 people. Like, I'm so locked in on my assignment and doing my job, but in the game itself, that, I hear the crowd when I make a play, or when we make a play on defense or the offense scores, and that boosts you, that fires you up. But really, I use that for momentum, for motivation, right? Like, there's nothing better than, like, when you go silence a crowd on the road, you get a big sack on the road and silence the crowd on 3rd down, or at home, you get a sack and the crowd erupts before the guy even hits the ground. I was telling somebody the other day, like, man, those are the things that I wish you go back. Those, you live for those moments. You do all the workouts, the meetings, everything year round, for those 12 to 15 opportunities to actually go out there and do something on game day. So you have to make the most of them. So I'll be honest, some people might assume it's intimidating, but it becomes second nature. You play the game so much and you practice so much that, at least at Alabama, you're so prepared. Now it's finally time to go out and put it on display. And we got our first super chat. I forgot to mention that is now turned on. You guys showed us so much love that I guess we already are eligible for the monetization stuff. So thank you guys so much for all your support. So we got our first super chat from Adam.
Praise God.
That's right. So Adam, appreciate the $10 super chat. He said, Christian, do you think this team lacks the mindset and togetherness of prior teams like the 2016 and 2020 teams? I'll answer real quick, and I'll let Josh too. I'll be honest. I love this group. I'm around them a lot. I do the sideline reporting. I'm at practice all the time. There's definitely a difference in mentality, if I'm being honest with you. I don't think it's just these guys. I think it's a generational thing. Again, I mentioned I was at practice earlier with guys like Jake Coker, who was our quarterback, and we won in 2015. And Reggie Ragland, who was our captain, our linebacker that year, and like, just being with those guys, you realize the significance we had in terms of the way we practiced and the pride we had just to play at Alabama, right? Like, I'll be honest, we didn't really have a whole bunch of conversations about the NFL or money, or like, we just enjoyed each other's company. Like when I had Ruben on the show, I mean, like his favorite moment was just going out and playing together, like being at practice together. Like we had a bond and camaraderie that was unmatched. And so with that being said, man, we played for one another. We really did, right? Like OJ Howard was just on the Bama Standard. He was saying like celebrating Ronnie Clark's touchdown felt better than him scoring a touchdown. Like that's how much pride we had and how much, love we had for one another, that we wanted to do our job, not so we could go on and play in the NFL. Yes, obviously we wanted to, but the priority was we wanted to do our job for the man beside us because we knew he meant that much to us. The team meant that much to us. And I'm sure these guys do care and they have pride, but unfortunately, I think they also have a lot of other factors involved, whether it's NIL or just different things, right? It's just a lot different with social media. Like, yeah, there's social media when we were there. We're not that far removed, but it still was different, right? Like I tell people, we used to get, like, when I was younger on the team, like if we were too active on social media, the older upperclassmen, they'd bully us about that. They weren't feeling that. You know what I'm saying? They didn't like dudes that sat on social media, but now everybody on the team has social media and they're in the locker room.
Well, they got to do it because of the NIL and, that's where their money at with NIL. You tweet something, you post something. And
listen, I use social media for business. I
mean,
that
things
for
are just
business,
different.
but that's why I said I think it's a generational thing. I mean, Josh,
I don't like it.
I definitely say it's the demeanor of the team, like the demeanor and mentality. Like we had some dogs on the team, nasty, tenacious. Like they wanted to like not only make the tackle in the backfield, but just completely just
destroy.
They wanted to make you pay. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they had bad intentions. We're filthy physical. That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Josh heard that a couple times.
Filthy physical people. I mean, people like Ryan Anderson, Reuben Foster, Reggie Ragland. Like they wanted to make you feel them, and not only make you feel them, make you feel like that you could not play on the same field with them. And I'm not saying that I don't see that on the field, but I don't see as much of it as it has been in the past. Like as far as with the interceptions and turnovers, like we had guys making a play at least once a week. I can remember when I was playing on that 2016, 2017, we had a streak, like a 9-game streak of us having a turnover and a touchdown. Like we don't have that in the system anymore. We don't have guys.
Was crazy.
That was
nuts.
Some type
I mean, it was
team.
like Bojack was taking one to the house each week, or somebody, John Allen was strip sacking somebody and Payne picking up, scoring. Yeah, I mean that.
I think that whole like 11, at least 9 of the people on their starting 11 scored a touchdown that season.
Let me ask you this: who was the defense coordinator?
I think that was Jeremy Pruitt.
Was it Pruitt's first year? Yeah, because Kirby left in 2015, so Pruitt took over in 16. So that was Pruitt's first year with us.
Yeah. Okay. Because those guys demanded something from you guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those guys, you took on their personality, and which is toughness, which is, being fundamentally sound, being, like you said, make them feel you. When you hit them, they're going to feel you, right? And so this defense the last 2 years has been soft, right? Y'all don't need to say it, but I know what I see. I mean, listen, I know what I see. And they weren't making people feel them. They weren't making people feel them. And that's the only issue when you go back to Pete Golden, because they took his personality. And I know Pete, he's a good dude, man. I ain't gonna lie, back in the day, I might go get a couple pops with him. You know what I mean? It's like Pete was a cool dude. He was smart.
Yeah.
But he couldn't push guys in a way or get them to elevate in a way that's nasty. It was too nice. And, he didn't hold guys accountable, in my opinion. I didn't see him over there yelling and screaming and throwing headsets and things like that, cussing them out. It was like they friends. No. We can't be friends. It's like, I don't
know about that. I mean, ask
no,
Josh.
No.
He coached. No, listen. But he coached Josh. So, I know. I'm saying, ask Josh.
I know
Josh
he coached
was in that
Josh,
room.
but
I'm saying I don't think it's fair for you to talk about that from what you saw just during some games or whatnot. Josh was around him every day. So Josh, was he too? No, let's let him answer. No, let him answer.
Well,
was he too buddy Josh, or did he get on?
I mean, I definitely think there was a relationship established between him and the starters. Was it a little too relaxed? Was it too buddy? I would say on some terms, as far as the day-to-day, making sure that they play to the standard, holding them accountable and holding them to a higher standard. Like, hey, look, you're not only just playing in a starter, like you're the leader of this defense. You're this dog. You have to kind of set the bar and make sure that you're always living up to that standard. So I would say that message wasn't probably always translated and pushed across. And, it could be because of how he was. He was more of a relaxed, laid-back person. Rip you when he needed to, but we didn't have that every single day. He more so wanted to make a connection with his players and kind of, make it feel like he trusted you and you trusted him. So I would say it was just, and like you said, it's a different age. It's different generation of kind of students. So you kind of have to have that certain approach for your players. So I definitely think he was just kind of stuck in that position. Like, hey, look, I can't come off too aggressive or this kid won't respond correctly. So I kind of see it as, he did what he needed to do at certain times, but he could have gone overboard. He could have done a little bit more to kind of push that message across.
How much of the defense, Josh, was his versus the Bama defense, meaning the GOAT, Nick Saban? I mean, were there times he said, hey, I want to change some things, and coach like, no, we're going to do it this way? Or were there times he said, I'm gonna throw out my defense, coach? I feel like the 3-3-5 or whatever, 4-2-5 works better against spread, this, that, and the third. Was it all the time Coach Saban's defense, or did at times he was able to implement, because you said how smart he was and all that, was he able to implement some of those things?
That's tough for him to answer, though, because that's something you probably have to ask.
coaching
staff. No, I'm saying because I was also there. No, I'm telling you, like.
Yeah, but I was asking Josh.
And that's fine. Josh will answer. I just wanted to help him out because that is hard for Josh.
He don't need no help. He grown. He married. His wife couldn't ribs out there.
I'm saying, but you're putting him on the spot. But like, I mean, he's. Josh, do you have a feeling on that? Like I said, it's hard. For I don't.
Kind of.
You don't have to answer.
Everything goes through Saban. I can answer. Everything kind of goes through Saban. Saban kind of gets the last check off on everything: defensive schemes, offensive schemes, special teams. He has the last say so. I would say sometimes he did get the freedom that he wanted. If he wanted to insert a certain package he felt comfortable with, it would just, like I said, it will always come back to the players. If the players were able to execute, we run the play 7 times throughout the week, and we only are able to execute it 2 or 3 times. Coach Saban doesn't feel comfortable kind of implementing that into the game plan. So that's where you kind of receive some pushback from the Coach Saban. And, it doesn't allow Pete Golding to fully operate within his defense. So I would say, 75-25. Sometimes he did get to implement some of his game plan and some of his defensive schemes. But like I said, when the players don't respond correctly to the plays and they don't fully execute them, that does kind of make it hard for him to be able to implement that into the defensive game plan.
That's a good answer.
That's basically what I said, is because when people would be criticizing him, I always would tell them, like, you got to remember, where does Coach Saban stay put during practice? The defensive side of the field. Whose defense is it? Coach Saban. So, like, when people are like, oh, Pete this, Pete that, I'm like, yeah, he contributes, right? Yeah, he's accountable. But at the end of the day, Coach Saban even said it. He can veto or override anything. Yes. And it's basically what you said. Pete can try to add things and implement things. That's his job. But at the end of the day, Coach Saban ultimately decides whether that goes in or not. And so whether you want to say, oh, he was giving Coach Saban bad, bad advice, bad, ideas, whatever. But that's typically how it works at Alabama. I want to get to some of these chats real quick.
Okay.
Because we got a lot of people.
By the way,
in here,
Joshua McMillan, former Tide linebacker, is our guest here on the program, 3-time national champion.
Yeah, sure.
Excuse me, hanging out down in the ATL. Appreciate him hanging out because we got any questions for him. I just put him on the spot like a big time, reporter in New York City. I asked a tough question. I got trained, Josh, in New York, brother. This is the media capital of the world, right? So you got to expect, hard question. And I had to know when to say, not my place, or I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but we try to be real here on the Miller's Edge. I'm
gonna give it to you raw.
Yeah. I love it. That's what I'm talking about. Real, recognized, real.
Yes,
What I mean?
That's right.
That's what I'm talking about. So Josh is here with us. We're talking a lot of defense tonight. He played for Pete Golden. So did Christian. But Josh Moore for Coach Golden coming back here to Tuscaloosa. Let's just reset the table before you read the chat.
Wait.
Oh, I'm just going to just reset it because some people are just not getting it. We will get to ask Josh his opinion about the offense, Jalen Milroe, how all that went down. Now he's QB1. We're going to talk about that. We're going to throw out some keys to the game, what we feel like Alabama needs to do as a whole to win this game against Lane Kiffin on 2:30 CBS. It's going to be a wonderful game. And I said earlier, if you don't really understand how big this game is, it's huge. It's massive because I think this game sets the direction in which now this team goes. We can count the first 3 games as like a preseason, 2-1. Didn't look pretty at all. Okay. Texas, not a bad loss. I think we're going to see at the end of the year, that's not going to be a bad loss. May end up helping you if you set the tone going forward. So that's where we are. Take it away, Chris.
All right. Yeah, I just want to get to these chats because I don't want them getting behind because we also got some more super chats. Again, thank you, everybody, for joining us on this second edition.
Our collection play that. Lord have mercy.
He's preaching.
With them ties and offerings.
And again, we just do this because we enjoy it. We want you guys in on the conversation. But any donation, any support, you guys, whether it's a like, subscribe, anything, man, we appreciate everything. So thank you so much. Caleb said, "Do y'all sell those hats?" So I went and got a bunch of them made. Just kind of for promo, but if you guys are interested in them, I'd be glad to get a bunch more made. I did say we were going to do a 1,000 subscriber giveaway, so I'll go ahead and give away a hat, and we'll say basically you got to be subscribed here. Go subscribe to our X or Twitter, and just go leave a reply with your score prediction on our last tweet about us doing this live, and I'll pick one of you guys to get a hat. And I got different colors, so I got the gray with the white and black, got the gray and white.
Now to hook me up this weekend, man.
I got you. Right. We got the black. So we got some to choose from. So make sure you guys go subscribe.
Josh, I only got one. He only gave me one hat.
Well, I mean, again, I did a little prototype sample size.
I got an old school one of these.
Yeah, he got the OG hat. But look, like I said, if you guys are interested, I'll get some more made, and we'll definitely get those out to you guys. We also hit these super chats real quick. Debbie said, "Love the show, Roll Tide." Debbie, thank you so much for the support. We appreciate it. Roll Tide. Hopefully we can take care of business this weekend. And here we go. We got Adam again. As a player, how hard was it to master Saban's defensive scheme? I read about it recently, and it was so complex, I would be clueless on the field. It takes time, Adam. I know for me, I got here in 2014. I knew I was redshirt, and I had to develop physically. But in the meantime, I was working out, trying to get better as a player, but I was trying to learn the system, right? Because people have to understand it's like building blocks. The best way to learn it is to learn the basics. I tell everybody that. You'll have guys that get here, and Josh can attest, they stress out, they're in their head, they feel like they'll never learn it, but that's because they throw so much at you, but you really just have to break it down. I mean, at the end of the day, a defensive call typically starts with the front, right? They'll say the coverage in there, and they'll tell you kind of what you're doing, like whether it's coming from the strong side, the weak side. You can put things together, and you just got to come up with little addendums and little reminders. But it's tough. It takes time. Some guys pick it up quicker than others. Some positions are a lot more difficult than others to pick up on. Defensive line, you probably can learn it relatively quicker than, say, maybe the center or, even a secondary guy, because those coverages can be complex. They're always changing. That's what really makes it tough. Because you'll think you learn it. You learn the base integrity of the call versus a simple, 2x2 formation, like it's dot
one
formation.
Person moves across the field, and
they get up, and that tight end trades over, and you got YY wing and a 3x1, and then the backside linebacker has to pull and stack over the guard, and now your responsibilities are totally different.
Yep.
So there's a lot that goes into it. So Josh, what would you say in terms of like how long did it take you to really learn and understand the defense?
Oh, it probably took me 2 to 3 years, and that's only because I went through several positions. Yeah, I came in as a outside linebacker, but moved over to inside linebacker, and then the next year we had a couple guys. I think you went down, T. Lou went down with a couple injuries, so I had to switch back to outside linebacker. So, that ended up helping me in the long run as far as, hey, look, if I know what the outside linebacker is doing, I kind of know my position. But I would definitely say, like you said, is you have to master the basics, the foundation of the whole defense. And then once you kind of master that, you can kind of go through your checks. And once you kind of learn offensive formations, you can kind of understand like, hey, look, if this guy's in this 3-by-1 and I have a 3-by-1 check within the call, hey, I know as soon as he lines up in that position, I can already kind of anticipate what next call I'll be going through. So I would say definitely working yourself through the progressions, being able to pick up on little things, and just studying day in and day out. Like you'll definitely fail, and kind of like how I am with learning. I had to get yelled at 6 or 7 times before I actually understood what went on. So, and you'll get a good reminder if Coach Saban ripped your butt one time and you don't carry 3 up as 3 on flex 6 bone Bronco. Like, you're going to learn real quick.
That's just right there, Steve. I didn't play for Coach Saban, but I played in a similar defense. Again, wasn't that complicated because he came under that whole tree of Bill Belichick, right? So some of the same concepts. I mean, but God, man, it's like you just made a call right there defensively, just almost as long as an offensive call. I mean, like, come on, man. Simple is really better, Adam. Simple is better. When guys know what they're doing, able to pin their ears back and play fast, because that's the key. And I learned over the years playing in NFL, play not fast as far as how fast I could run, but fast meaning how fast I could process the information, see what I see, and then play. And I knew guys who studied and understood what the offense was doing, and that allowed them to play faster. That was slow. We had middle linebackers like Gary Reeves and Steve Diassi. These guys weren't fast linebackers, but they were smart. That we had a simple defense. They could process fast and play fast. So that's what I would like to see more from this defense. Be more simple, play more aggressive, and have fun. Because defense isn't fun when you out there got to think too much. It's just not going to be a fun time.
I agree with everything. I think the issue, though, is you mentioned how it's different from when you were here. The calls are longer. The issue is, like me and Josh were mentioning, modern college football, these offenses, there's so much window dressing. There's so much change pre-snap, is that you almost have to have that much detail in your play calls on defense. That way you're prepared to properly adjust. Like I think that's the most critical piece of these defensive calls. And that's when you get to like those one-word calls, like Josh can tell you, like to simplify it, we might just have a call and just call it Falcons, right? Yeah. But we know that's like field strong, this, that, 7 coverage, adjusted this. But we just say one word that way on the sideline, they're just flapping. You get the signal that's Falcons. You know that, right? As an edge guy, I know Falcons were coming from the field. If I'm away, I got to drop. I mean, this type of coverage. But Adam, again, great question. Next super chat from Tia. What's up, Tia? Appreciate the super chat, $9.99. We need our heartbeat back. Coach Cochran, Christian trimmed the mustache. Everybody's on me about my mustache, man. I'm just having fun, man. I got to bring the stash back. It's football season. Corey's looking younger than you. He probably is. He's got his mustache trimmed and stuff. I'm going old school. He's going new school. But I love that you mentioned Coach Cochran. He was, instrumental in my development. Anybody you talk to will tell you, how big of a role he played, and, just getting on campus, feeling comfortable, learning the system, learning the process. He was kind of like the heartbeat of the team, right? Like he was the glue. Yeah. He kept everything together. When excuse my language, when shit was hitting the fan, he kept it together, right? When we needed that boost, he got us ready, right? Like, so, it's hard to you can't replace a guy like that. I mean, like, his contribution was invaluable. Unfortunately, you can't replace a guy like that. And now, in Josh's, you worked with the new staff. I've worked with them, training, in the pros, but they're phenomenal. State-of-the-art
Yeah.
equipment. The technology they use is football specific. They're doing sports specific training. It's supposed to help prevent injury and get you prepared to not only play, but to play at your respective position. I love what they do, and they're phenomenal. They're great guys to have on staff. But just a guy like Coach Cochran, if I'm being honest, it's just so hard to replace a guy like that. And I'm not just talking about from what he did, because he was so much more than a strength coach.
Yes,
way beyond a strength coach. So I mean, I love that you mentioned Cochran. I mean, Josh, if you want to speak on Cochran.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like the passion that Cochran showed for just not only, the weight room, it was on the field. You saw it day in and day out. He was able to really make a connection with his players. Like when Ruben was sometimes tapped out, worried about stuff at home, or Ryan Anderson, these are some of the people, like, they have big problems going on back home. Like he was able to tap in with their mental and like really bring them back and like have a conversation that was more than just surface level. Like he would really dive deep, and like you really saw that he cared not only about you but your family. So I would say that's not not throwing any shade towards David Ballou. I feel like he's a great strength and conditioning coach. He cares more about just the program and the system. He actually cares about your body, and he wants to have a game plan for it. And I feel like that is more important for the guys that are coming in, because you had some people just throw weight on the bar and they just tell you to lift it, and they're not really not catering to your body and what's going on with you right now. So I would definitely say he's definitely a guy that's more invested into your body and you, and just trying to elevate you all together. And he has conversations, but I think the more he's within that system, and not just being a robot, actually kind of making a connection with some of the players, you'll see that transition in his game there too.
Well, I think you need a little bit of both, guys. I think you got to have balance. Because knowing Cochran very well, having great dialogue with him, old school guy, right? That old school, yeah, let's go. You're gonna challenge you, man. He's gonna, Grayson, why, when I come down there, he sat me in the office, tell me about Christian's, how he's doing, this, that, and the third, and talk to him about goals, even, what he wants to do, man. He wants to play in the league. This is what he got to do. This kind of weight where we're trying to get him at. This is the strength. Cochran's just a different kind of guy. Old school throwback that dudes love. And just hearing that when y'all was running 110s, or just, when you was tired, he was that guy that just kind of was just filling you up with that fuel, right?
Mm-hmm.
The new guy to me, don't know him personally, but he's kind of as you said, invest in the body, the whole science of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Listen to there's soft tissue injuries and things like that Alabama was having a problem with, hamstrings and a lot back in the day. I came from the school of, bench press, squats, power cleans, and running. That's what we did. Wasn't a whole lot of
far
stretching.
more advanced than that, Pop.
I know. I know.
More
But here's the question for both of you. Don't you feel like you need both? Because one of the things that when we look at this team, and maybe even last year's team, we don't see that grit, that grind, that toughness. You're talking about getting Ruben and Ryan and these guys mental, getting them right, or even pushing them further than they want to go. We got another smart guy. Nick got another smart guy in the weight room. He got, he got the Scientology and whatever word you want to use, the whole body. He understands all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But is he giving them that, yeah, and cussing you out and pushing you and hitting you on your chest? Because I think you need a little bit of both. And right now we've gotten a little bit of too much of the nice science guy that cares for your body and makes sure, get your hamstring rubbed out, versus pushing you to go the extra mile. Does that make sense? I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Cochran was that dude. I mean, he was that dude, man, that I thought gave you all that toughness, that standard that we talk about that's missing. That was Cochran.
No doubt. And that's what we both were saying. I mean, like, he's invaluable. I don't think you can replace that, right? I mean, I guess you could go get some motivator or some, you could try to go hire a guy like that, Ben Newman, right? Like one of those guys.
Motivational speakers.
Yeah, like a motivational speaker and have him on staff. But like again, Cock was like, bro, like he was like the team dad / you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you just had to experience it to understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I meant. Like he was the life of the program, like, and he knew the process. He knew Coach Saban's standard, and he was an enforcer. He enforced it, and then he made sure all the older guys and the guys that had been in the program, they enforced it. Like the system was where it needed to be. So 100%. You definitely need a great balance. Kelly with the $4.99 super chat. Love the Thursday evening show. Oh, Kelly, thank you so much. You've been supporting us for a while, so appreciate all the love and support. And so, yeah, we want to keep doing this. We might even do it even more often. Maybe throw in a second one. I think somebody also was asking, are we doing the post game show? I think I saw that somewhere. We plan on doing that again. So make sure you guys tune in right after the game. We're going to hop on here for our post game show, breaking down the game, our analysis, our thoughts, and letting you guys join in on the conversation. So we definitely plan to keep on doing that. Michael just sent in a $5 super chat. I don't think Michael had a comment, but Michael, thank you so much for the support. We appreciate it. Again, we just really enjoy hopping on here, talking ball, getting you guys in the conversation. Again, we're joined by Josh McMillan, 3-time national champion, and a great brother of mine, teammate. We actually got brother and sister dogs.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about that. Yeah,
we got brother and sister dogs from our other teammate, Lester Cotton.
Lester Cotton,
yeah, Lester got us, and then here he goes eating.
Which one?
I knew it was coming. Yep, Duke. I got Duke, and Josh has Duke's
Blue.
sister. Yeah, her name is Blue. So let us know if you got any questions though for either any of us or Josh, and we'll definitely answer those as well. But again, thanks everybody for the support. But in the meantime, we can talk a little bit about Ole Miss, kind of our thoughts.
Let's get into the game breakdown.
Let's talk about the game.
I'm getting X and O's and enough of all that stuff. Let's go.
Let's do it. Go ahead. Lead the way.
All right. Again, thanks for joining us here on the Miller's Edge Extra. There's extra. That's what we're doing, extra. And so let's talk about this matchup, guys. All right. We talked about we watching the 3 games. We're looking forward to this game. Ole Miss coming in here. Jackson Dart, quarterback. I think he was at Southern Cal, right? That's where he came from. Transfer.
I don't know if
they got like 3. They got like 3 transfer quarterbacks.
I think you're thinking of the backup quarterback that they have.
No, the backup quarterback is from Oklahoma State, I think.
Oh, never.
But anyway, he got so many transfer portal guys. It's hard to keep up with. But let's be real here. Let's get it with the game. I wrote down some things, some keys for me. Just not all of them, but this is what I feel like Alabama needs to do to secure the win. Number one, they got to stop the run defensively. Ole Miss is going to try to run the football because that's who they are. You know, when we think of Lane Kiffin, we think of tempo, we think of, deep shots, a lot of throwing the football. They do that as well, but they have been a good football team as far as running. If they can get the running game going, go back to last year, they ran the football excellent versus Alabama. Then play action passes, guy was running free down the seams, things like that. Big plays happen, chunk plays as they call them now defensively. But we must be stout in the running game, and I think particularly first down, get them behind the sticks, make them become somewhat one-dimensional, and I think that's going to help us play better defense. Number 2, I said this, don't give up the explosive plays. They're going to go fast. What concerns me, not just go back to when y'all played. One of the things when Kirby was there, Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, when y'all play these national championship games, teams that ran tempo and fast, like everybody said, Nick Saban has a problem with it. Why can't he stop these up-tempo offenses? A lot of mistakes happen. Cheap touchdown plays. We've seen them already this year against Texas. So they got to be great as far as mentally and not give up explosive plays. And then on offense, we're talking more about defense because I think defense is going to be the answer. I know everybody wants to talk Jalen Milroe and can't read, defense, blah, blah, blah. Defense win big games like this, right? Yes. But then alternatively, you got to be able to run the ball offensively. You got to be able to control the clock because how do you stop an offense like Ole Miss? Keep them on the sidelines.
Yeah.
It's very simple. Ball control offense, play keep away, right? We got these backs that everybody talked about in the preseason. Best running back room in the country. The offensive line, big, massive. We got to take advantage. That last drive, that 4-minute drive, which took almost 7 minutes against South Florida, that's what I want to see.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them to give up on the run so early because they get stopped a couple of times. If they're able to run the ball, control the clock, long drives, keep Lane Kiffin's offense on the sideline, guys, they will win this game. And I believe that they can do it because when they decided, Nick Saban said he challenged them to don't give South Florida the ball back, what happened? They didn't get it back. They did get it back, but the game was over because we scored a touchdown. I mean, so I talked about, Josh, counters. I talked about trap plays, off tackle plays, quarterback design run with counter runs, pulling those tight ends across the formation, kicking out that defensive end, making him try to close the spiel. Well, we get on the flanks, and get Miro on the safety. We like that matchup all day, every day, twice on Sunday, right? But running the football is imperative in this game because here's the problem. If we are behind the sticks, if we are second and longs, third and longs, we become one-dimensional. And guess what? Where our weakness is. Left tackle, left side of this offense. Now when people can pin their ears back, Ole Miss likes to blitz. They like to bring those linebackers. We know, we talked about Pete. He blitzes the inside linebackers a lot, bringing pressure up the middle, taking away the passing window, trying to get that quarterback outside, hoping that his guys will hold the edge and box him in. So that's what I'm saying. It is going to be critical, guys, for Alabama. If Alabama can't run the football, they're in trouble because our offensive line isn't good enough in pass protection and making Jalen become one-dimensional. That's a huge problem. So to me, I think it is a crucial deal that Alabama is effective running the ball. They got a patchwork defensive line. They got guys from James Madison, even a former Bama nose tackle, I believe, played at Bama 4 years. I think it's Stephon Wynn or something like that.
Yeah,
he's a nose tackle. They got another kid somewhere else, another kid over here. A guy that I think Wynn played. One guy went to Auburn. Who am I talking about? They had a 300-pound tight end in Auburn. Then he went to somewhere else and he transferred back to Ole Miss. He's a nose patchwork, guys. Linebackers are decent. Patchwork defense that's a little bit banged up as well. Alabama should destroy Ole Miss. This shouldn't be a game. They should. Now, if they allow them to stay in the program, in the game, and give up those chunk plays, it's going to be a problem. Thank you, Michael Manson, $5 super chat. He said, y'all need to add all 22 to this show. Then it will be complete.
I think you hit the button too early with this. Yeah, I think you hit the button too early. Michael, we appreciate that. Now, we're going to keep it going. And like I said, you guys obviously enjoy the show, so we're going to keep doing this. And
I got to eat another wing.
All the support. Oh, go ahead. Take your time. Well, while you do that, I'll chime in real quick. Josh, I'll be honest, he kind of hit all my keys. I think he hit probably every key you could think of. What I had written down going into this week, I said establish the run game, kind of build off of last week's momentum, what we saw in that second half. I was talking about this at practice, right? Like, I think the biggest issue with this team right now is consistency.
Yes.
Like, they flash the promise. They show that they can do it. I'll give you an example. First quarter against Texas, defense was flying around, knocking the ball loose, making the quarterback uncomfortable, stopping the right. They were doing all the right things, right? Tackling well. And then it's just like second quarter kind of came down. Third quarter, they brought it back up. They brought that juice. They looked pretty good. Fourth quarter, gave up 3 scores, I think, right? Yeah. 2 of them within like 30 seconds or something crazy. So consistency, having the right mindset, like don't come out flat, right? What do we say? Standard over feelings, right? Doesn't matter if you feel tired. Doesn't matter if you feel sick. Doesn't matter if you just got beat on the last play and you're upset. Bump all that. It's about the standard. It's about doing your job. So with that being said, run the football effectively. Like my dad said, set Milroe up. His best throw is arguably the deep ball. Get that play action pass. Get those shots built up by establishing the run. I said, be prepared for the high tempo offense. If you watch these guys on tape, they like to go, right? They're trying to get lined up. They're trying to get you caught up in the wrong personnel so you can't sub. They're trying to get back on the football. They're going to have a few plays already dialed up, right? They're running a script offense. So you got to, the biggest thing to stop that, communication, Be on the same page, right? Do your assignment, be in condition, be prepared for it, right? Because you know it's coming. So get back and do your job. Have a sense of urgency, right? Don't just be jogging back. Get your tail back to the football. Get your eyes to the sideline. That way you can get your alignment, your assignment, and you're ready to play ball. Then I said, affect the quarterback. Make him one-dimensional, right? They're going to try to do that with Milroe. You got to make him one-dimensional. I think last week against Georgia Tech, and this is, this is telling, he was 10 of 18 for 251. So he obviously was probably taking some big shots. He didn't throw the ball a whole bunch. But why? He had 14 carries for 136 yards and 2 touchdowns. We all know one of Bama's issues typically is a running quarterback. Guy that can make plays with his legs. We saw it against USF. They're going to try to attack that, right? They're trying to exploit that, right? Everything is a copycat league, right? They're going to see what other teams had success on. They're going to try to do it. So I think if you cut the head off the snake, right, which is their quarterback, you make him one-dimensional, you have a chance. So really, I think it boils down to the offensive line, protecting Jalen Milroe, giving him time, and establishing their dominance on the offensive line to get that push so we can run the ball effectively so we have success on offense. And I think if our defense can just keep up with that tempo, play the integrity of our defense, play everything deep to short, get lined up, right? I think we'll have success. Now, I don't know if I'll go as far as say my dad saying he thinks we just run through them like, crap to a tin horn, but I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to look similar to a Texas type game, but hopefully we're kind of in that Texas role, right? And then we ultimately need to finish.
Yeah,
that's the thing about this
wrong, Deacon Sheriff. You're wrong, Deacon Sheriff.
Tell me how I'm wrong. Go ahead, please. Now that you finished
your
wing.
Alabama, and we'll get Josh Keys. Alabama, you're going to see a new identity. I'm telling you right now. This team that want to play for Tyler Buckner, they were mad about that.
I'm not buying that.
I'm buying it. I'm buying all of it. I'm putting all. Hey, listen, all in. I'm not really a gambler, but I know you play. What is that, blackjack or whatever, or poker? Poker, you go all in. I'm all in. I'm all in it. Listen, they didn't. You see how them boys? They look like a Division II team. I mean, they had no care. They didn't want to play for this dude. They knew he was good and terrible.
No.
They were probably saying, what is Coach Saban trying to do? Sabotage us? I mean, listen, this guy, come on, man. I mean, listen, let's just be real.
Not buying that.
Let's just be real.
No, wait, hold on. Wait, I'm not trying to cut you off. But I'm not trying to cut you off. I just want to ask you.
Okay.
I waited till you paused. I'm not cutting you off. I just want to get this in real quick. You really believe that because of the guy at quarterback, they chose to play a certain way?
Yes.
The only reason I say that is I saw people going as far as saying the receivers were intentionally dropping touchdowns because they didn't want it to be caught. That's why I'm like, if you think a guy's leaving money on the table because of who they put at quarterback, you are sadly mistaken.
No, I'm not going that far. I'm just saying.
I know. I don't think it was that deep.
I think emotionally it was a setback for them, right? Because they're at practice. You go to practice, right? They know what's going on. They ain't stupid. They see what these guys are doing. And then you go say, I'm going to start this guy who is not really one of their own. Think about it now. This guy transferred. This Tommy Reese guy. He didn't come in with a recruiting class. So I will say this, man. Jalen Milroe has won this team over. Jalen Milroe, them dudes going to play for him. Listen, because he has some dog in him that they can understand, they can comprehend, they can relate. I believe when they decided to have this players-only meeting, which isn't players-only meeting when you go right and tell the media what you just had. I mean, come on, somebody. Somebody shout an amen out there with a little Snapchat thing, whatever you call it. It ain't a players-only meeting. When you get there and come out the meeting and go, hey, we just had a players-only meeting, and we're going to have the meeting, get it off your chest, hold each other accountable, and go. Don't tell me you're pissed off. Don't tell me how mad you are. Just go show me. Yeah. Just go play like it. Just let your actions speak so loud that listen, man, that's the difference, right? They feel like they got to go be the media darling. They got to go tell everybody what's happening. I've been saying that the locker room is a sanctuary normally, right? Things happen in the locker room. The jokes happen. All the stuff we talk about back in the day, everything was talked about in the locker room. The girl that you kind of met at the club the night before to Blue, y'all know. I'm old, but I know. Listen, man, I'm old. I got a lot of. I know this stuff was happening in the '80s when I was in college. Okay, this stuff, and it was a sanctity, man. It was like it didn't leak out the locker room. You knew what this guy did or didn't do, and this guy, you knew what was happening. Well, this guy was hanging out with homeboy over here, girlfriend, and this, that, and third. I mean, it's like, hey, and they might have to square off whatever. This stuff, that's what I'm saying. I want that back for Alabama. That they're building a unit, a group, a bond that's unbreakable, like y'all talked about earlier, right? So, listen, man, I think they finally got it. Coach Saban now is speaking the right language of supporting Jalen Milroe. I honestly believe some guys don't like what he was saying. But now he's going on these shows and doing his tour. Matter of fact, I think Hey Coach is going on as we speak. Now they're saying, okay, this is our dude. Let's ride. Right? Let's ride. This guy going to give us a chance. He gave them a chance against Texas. He gave them the lead, guys, in the fourth quarter. Then he brought them back 27-24. He's a fighter. He didn't quit.
Yeah.
And Coach Saban praised him about how he competed. And then you turn around and put Tyler Buckner in it. I'm sorry. I love Coach Saban, but I'm going to hold his feet to the fire. That wasn't the smartest coaching decision that I ever seen him make. Now, I think it was a dumb one, to be honest with you. I think it almost – hold on. I thought it was not him, but the decision was dumb because you put your team in a position, one, to look horrible, for nationally to be questioned, and almost really to lose. So it wasn't a smart decision. I think he probably would tell you that. I mean, so can they right the ship? Yes. Can they turn it around? Yes. Do I believe? Yes. I'm not going to be Debbie Doubter. I'm not going to be Doubting Thomas. I think this team is going to – the tide is coming in, and this ship is going to head in the right direction. And they'll beat Ole Miss by 10 points or more.
We'll see.
And now, Lane Kiffin going to take him and his dog back down to wherever they from.
What's his name? Juice. Well, Josh, I know you've been here for a minute.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Sorry,
keep you.
Josh. I mean, I know your food ready.
Yeah. I was about to say we were holding
like my wife
from getting his dinner. You
chicken wang, and chicken wang. He be
man, see, look, I'm trying to go eat my chicken, man.
That's what I'm saying. You keep him from his dinner.
Ranch stretching on that thing.
Okay, all right. Well, while you enjoy and indulge in your chicken wings, Josh, real quick before you go, you want to give us your keys real quick? You can just run them off real quick.
Oh, yeah, I definitely think this is going to be a game that's won defensively. I feel like the most important thing is we have to get off on the field on third down. If we're not able to keep them from converting their third downs, we will lose that game 100%. I know Coach Saban loves to get his package on the field, dying rabbits, but Lane Kiffin has been within his system for at least 3 years, to my knowledge, and he knows that Coach Saban is wanting to get his edge rushers on the field and get a few defensive linemen out. So I feel as if he really needs those two core defensive linemen to hold lane integrity. They really need to figure out their lanes and figure out where they're rushing and hold them. The edge guys are going to definitely have to do a good job of containing and making sure that we keep this quarterback within his pocket. And we have to affect him some type of way. Third down, lane integrity. And I feel like the other real key is the offensive line. We have to get some push. We have to be able to protect Jalen, and we have to make someone fear us. Like we haven't been playing to the Alabama standard on that offensive line. These guys are making plays, coming out of the quarterback, getting our quarterback out of the pocket, and Jalen is having to, make plays on his own self. And I feel like that's where, things just kind of fall apart. You can't have a successful offense if those guys up front aren't doing their job. So I definitely think it's going to be within the trenches and being able to keep them from converting on third down. Like we know the DBs can cover. We know Caleb Downs is holding it back down there in the safety area, but we really need everybody playing on one. and being able to keep down on the mental errors and really execute.
No doubt. And that's one area I think the defense probably, there's very few areas they could really improve, not to give them rat poison, but they've been playing really well. But that's one thing I would say is third downs, getting off the field. That's something that they probably could do a little bit of a better job. So I agree with you on that. Josh, I appreciate you hopping on.
No problem,
man.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course, brother. Anytime. We'll get you on here more often. I know you we're doing a podcast with Mac. Anything you want to plug or anything?
Good surprise, bro. Good surprise.
No, not right now. Me and Mac Herford are trying to work on something, the Mac and MC show, but they're still in the works, but we'll definitely kick something off real soon. Thank you guys for having me, and I'm sure I'll be back.
Well, man, when I hit the ATL, bro, I had to hit you up, man. We go down there and need some what's that restaurant, that soul food place down? God.
There's probably 100 of them.
100 million.
Well, they known for like chicken and waffles. I'm drawing a blank right here.
Roscoe's.
Chicken and Roscoe's, yeah. That's it.
Oh, there you go.
Well, good to see you, man. Love to you and your family, brother. Proud of you, man. And hopefully you'll peep us out, man. Come on here. You're so, well spoken, and that's what people tell you. They tell that, oh, you speak so well. Like we supposed to be dumb, right? But anyway.
I ain't educated. I got my engineering degree.
He's an engineer. He's an engineer.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
What's the word that they use? What's the word that people use? Eloquent. Yeah. What?
Eloquent. Articulated.
Articulate. Yeah. They'll be like, hey, I go speak sometimes. Hey, really amazing. You're articulate, and it's almost like they expect me.
See what I'm saying? Stereotype. Yeah, dumb job.
I can do it all.
That's right.
Put me in the classroom, or you can put me on the field. I'm gonna exceed.
I love it.
That's right.
I love it, bro.
Well, go enjoy that dinner,
man. You, brother. Enjoy your dinner, man.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me.
God bless you. Roll Tide.
That's Josh McMillan, man. Great dude, man.
That's your buddy,
dude. Great player. Oh yeah, great player, but even better dude, man. That's my guy. That just shows y'all the brotherhood we have, man. We're real tight around here. Let's look at some of these chats real quick. Demetrius said it was reported that the majority of Bama players didn't approve of the benching of Milroe, and it showed in their play against USF. Simply, Milroe has won the locker room. He definitely has won the locker room, and I'm sure there were some guys that might have let some of those decisions affect their play. I'm just one of those people where I wouldn't. I don't know. They might feel a type of way, but at the end of the day, they also should have some sense of pride or ego to go out there and do their job regardless of the circumstances. I mean, I was on several teams that had quarterback battles and guys, again, I was with Jake Coker today. They benched him for Cooper Bateman, and I don't necessarily really remember, and we loved Coker, but I don't remember everybody, being in an uproar and changing the way we played. We wanted to win a football game. We love our brothers. We want the best for everybody, but the coaches make decisions, and we just, we trust and respect those, and we want to go out there and do our job. But I wouldn't be surprised if there were some. I just don't know to what extent I would say that it really affected them. But Cal said it's called coaching. QB shuffle was meant to light a fire. I agree, and that's why I was saying in terms of when they went into this game at USF and they announced the decision. I said this. I think it was more so about evaluating these guys in terms of Tyler Buckner and Ty Simpson than the performance of Jalen Milroe, right? And that's pretty much what Coach Saban has said. And he even said today on the Pat McAfee show, I mean, they were, hoping to see, motivation out of him from that. And so I guess he was pleased with what he saw.
But is that a mental game then? Coach Saban's playing a mental game?
It sounded like it. That's kind of the way he put it. It was almost like we wanted to. Well, he said two things. He said we called it a quarterback competition, and we hadn't really got to see the other two guys very much. If I'm being honest with you, I think they thought they'd be able to play the other two guys a little bit more, and they didn't. And so they wanted just to get eyes on those guys. But I think whatever transpired, whether it was practice habits or what, they ended up just saying, all right, we'll just go with these two guys first. Plus, that might light a match or light a fire inside of Jalen Milroe, and maybe it'll be the best for everybody. And so I guess they're counting on that. They're banking on that. We'll see how it plays out. But I'm just glad that, they picked a guy and now they're sticking with a guy. They're fully supporting this guy. They're endorsing this guy. And hopefully we'll see them shift the offense around this guy. That way he has success. And when he has success, the whole team is going to have success. So,
well, Saban said, I'm reading this quote. He said about this whole Milroe situation. He said Milroe was initially frustrated when he learned about the decision to play Buckner and Simpson in Tampa. Milroe was seen, but then he was celebrating with his players. He said he really has been supportive of his teammates, and I was happy to see that. Saban said after the win over South Florida, hopefully we all learn lessons from the experiences that we have and move forward in a positive way. So, maybe Coach Saban, that's the way he. I just don't like the mind game thing. I don't like it. This is my personal opinion. I'll never like a coach to play with me like that. Just tell me what it is. I'd rather you just be honest with me and just like, hey, we think you're the guy, but we're not going to play you this week unless it's an emergency. I'm going to play these two guys because we just want to see. And still, that ain't going to go over. I can understand why Jalen Milroe was upset, right? Everybody can understand that. But we're going to see now that his team. And I said this, and I'm going to say it again, Christian. Jalen, you got the keys to a Ferrari. Don't wreck the car. I'm going to hold Tommy Reese accountable, but you can't make those mistakes. You can't give a team like Ole Miss and what you did in Texas easy as short field scoring opportunities like you did. That can't happen. Mm-hmm. Right? It can't happen. I mean, yeah, he's going to make his big plays. We know that. But he has to eliminate those mistakes. He has to, instead of in there doing bench presses and squats or whatever he's doing on his body, he needs to stay in that film room. He needs to be like what Tom Brady said to Shedeur Sanders, stop riding around in your Bentley and getting there and watch some film. I mean, because that's going to help prevent you from making those crucial mistakes. Be a film junkie, man. Just soak all that up. Be a sponge, right? You got the keys. We're all pulling for you. I think most Alabama, I won't say every, most Alabama fans are all pulling for him.
Yeah.
And has supported him greatly. But, man, you can't go out there and throw 2 interceptions again. You can't go out there and have turnovers that's going to hurt your team, as Coach Saban calls killers. You cannot do those things. So I will say this very straight and direct, and I hope he sees it. Dude, take care of the ball. Act like it's $1 million. It's the last thing that you can't lose. Take care of that ball, and then just be you. Go play, but don't be afraid. See, a lot of times, Christian, when people talk about turnovers for quarterbacks, and they start to play more hesitant and scared. Running back, he fumbles a couple of times, and instead of just being explosive and busting through the hole, they kind of start tiptoeing because they don't want to fumble. I hope Jalen don't get into that robotic way. Because what makes him great is his big play potential. And I hope he plays loose and free.
No doubt. Caleb said, did I hear it correctly that Dart is the rushing leader on the season for Ole Miss? That's surprising to me. If Judkins was fully healthy, it would be him for sure. Yeah, right now, I'm looking at their stats now. Jackson Dart, 852 passing yards is leading there, and then 213 yards. He's leading there. So, yeah, probably because Judkins has been banged up. He's second on the team in rushing yards with 145. So I'd imagine he probably will take over for rushing, leading rusher as he gets healthy. Definitely a really good running back. Adam again with another $5 super chat says, "Why is the offensive line struggling so much? Is it that they aren't mastering the blocking schemes, or do you think they are getting beat physically?" If I'm being honest with you, Adam, it's both. I've seen times where there's mental errors on the offensive line. They're not blocking things correctly. A guy shooting upfield, a guy, is breaking through, penetrating because of a whiff or a mental error, not knowing his assignment. But I'm also seeing guys just getting beat straight up physically, and I'm not picking on anybody, but when you watch Proctor, those sacks that he's been giving up, I'll be honest, the guys are just doing straight speed rushes, man. They're not really doing any technical moves. They're not doing like what we used to call a stab club. They're not doing a scissors. They're not doing like a spin. They're not really doing anything fancy. The guys are just beating them with speed. And, when you're 6'8", 360 pounds, you got 2 issues. Number one, it's going to be a lot tougher for you to move your feet. You're not going to be as agile at that size. And 2, you don't bend as well. People have to understand that. Like as an edge guy, it's all about, well, when you're speed rushing, it's all about getting great get off, having good speed, and being able to bend. And so that's a weakness for a big tackle. And people are seeing that on tape. That's why USF schemed that. You heard them. they didn't necessarily run a whole bunch of that guy was a nickel corner. That wasn't an edge rusher. That guy that had 3 sacks at USF. What USF did was they saw that Caden Proctor struggled with the speed rush. So what they do, they put one of their most athletic guys on their defense, even though he's small, but they knew he could run right around him. All he was doing was a dip and bend. He was just bending the edge. There was no fancy move. He was just beating him with pure physicality or purely physically with his speed. And again, Proctor's young. He's going to get better. But, I keep saying this. I was a speed guy when I rushed the edge. I was a lighter guy. I used my speed to my advantage. But, that used to piss these tackles off because they didn't want to have to get low. They don't want to bend. It's not comfortable, right? They get tired of having to be threatened by speed. So you know what they used to do to me to make me pay? They made me pay for it, right? They're like, okay, if you want to work this edge, if you're not beating me clean, I'm going to shove you in the back of the head, put your mask in the dirt, throw you down, push you by. They would use their physicality to an advantage when they could. And my dad will attest that, like, the best linemen, they know how to recover. They know how to counter. And for whatever reason, I'm not seeing that from these guys when they do get beat, right? Like, again, I can't tell you how many times I would rush a guy off the edge and I would try to use that chop, dip, rip. Same move, right? And those O-linemen, they didn't want to bend with me. They didn't feel like dealing with my speed. So what would they do? They'd shove me down. They'd cut the rush off right there. Or they just throw me on by. And I'm just not really seeing that. So I'm sure that's something that will be picked up, as he progresses.
Well, I mean, but you talked about that star position, nickel, if you will, that was put in as an outside edge guy against Alabama's offensive tackle, Caden Proctor. That this makes me, again, why wasn't more help issued, right?
Well, I'll
why
say this
wouldn't you put
the few times, I didn't mean to cut you off, I apologize. I just want to point this out. The few times they did actually put a back over there to chip, I saw it a couple times, not many. Those times that they did helped them out significantly. I mean, it neutralized the whole rush because you and I both know just the presence alone helps. Sorry, but go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, you ain't even just put a tight end over there because it's going to slow that guy down. He's going to have to beat that guy first and then get to Proctor, right? So, they need to do that more. Hopefully, listen, they can go 12 personnel. They can, when I say 12 personnel, folks, I mean 1 back and 2 tight ends, right? That's, you count the back number of backs and the 2 for the 2 tight ends, right? That could be on the line Y, line of scrimmage tight end, and or and off the line of scrimmage tight end, right? So if I'm Tommy Rees, I go a lot more 12 personnel, running the football out of that formation. You got good receiving tight ends. Then, you got speed on the outside. Make them walk that safety down in the box. Create some one-on-one on the outside. Put safeties. Make the safeties cover like Texas did to Alabama. They put the safeties in dire straits by formations, right? They made the safety sometime having to cover a slot receiver. A horrible matchup. There's just so many things, man, that you can do that I look at and I'm going, wow, why aren't they doing this? Or why aren't they doing that? They have the ability, to have the talent. And so we'll see. I mean, it's going to be a chess game to see how Tommy Rees go up against Pete Gold. And if he don't beat Pete Golden, Alabama fans are going to go freaking nuts. If this offense is stagnant and Pete Golden comes in here and dominates, oh my God. We will have so many listeners on the radio and on this platform next week. It's going to be ludicrous. So people are watching. Tommy Rees, you're on the clock. You are. You better get past the stubbornness and change this offense that works for the quarterback that Nick Saban has announced is QB1, and that's Jalen Miro. Adam says, thanks for the great answer, Christian. I hope it gets better on Saturday. Me too. We all do. We just try to tell the truth, man. I do. I try to be open and honest to you in my answers. Sometimes they're a little harsh. It is what it is. But I'm just telling you based on what I see and know. So a lot of questions for this football team, but I'm still staying positive. I'm still optimistic about what this team can do. I think it's going to be their best game. I'm going to step out again on faith.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, Peter stepped down out of the boat. He had his eyes on Jesus, and he's the Bible said he started to walk on water. Long as he kept his eyes in the right place, he could stand and walk on the water. But as soon as he took his eyes off Jesus, the Bible says he began to sink. He began to go down. But Jesus reached down and pulled him up. Where is your faith, Alabama fans? We got to keep our eyes on the prize. You got the GOAT, the all-time greatest Nick Saban on the sideline coaching your football team. But you really, really want to doubt a man that's won 7 national championships, numerous SEC titles, enormous amount of All-Americans, NFL, the most on rosters right now. So keep your eyes on that man and what he's doing, even though he's made some kind of iffy decisions, we know. But you got to keep the faith. And I think your faith translate into what these kids are hearing. So if you stand positive, yeah, it's been a rough road. The first 3 games rough, but still, this team got a lot of talent. This team got one of the best rosters in all of football. So there you have it.
Good stuff. Steven said, Christian, do you think some players know that the better player is behind them on the bench, but they're ashamed to admit it and take themselves out? From a player perspective, how do you feel? I mean, I think most guys, man, if you're in this business or in this sport, you got to be confident. You got to have self-confidence. Could you feel that somebody is better behind you? I'll be honest, I don't really know, because you got to have not an ego, but you have to have a sense of pride. I mean, I don't know too many guys that would just believe like, hey, the better guy's behind me, because if that really was the case, he probably wouldn't be behind them. But I get your question, Stephen. But I'll be honest, I don't think that's very common. And plus, you can't really pull yourself out. That's really a coach's decision. You get chewed out if if you take yourself out of the game or anything like
and be
that.
Like, hey, I'm not good enough. I'm gonna go second team.
Yeah, I'll be honest, Stephen. I've never witnessed that or experienced that, but I mean, it might be possible, but it's definitely not happening in Alabama. DG says, do you think we have too many good wide receivers and they're trying to keep them happy? That's why we haven't used 12 personnel much. I'll be honest, we have used a good bit of 12 personnel. We used it, probably double the amount, at least in the first game, than we did last season. There's some stat about that. So we have been using it. I don't think it's so much about the receiver core. I think it's just a matter of kind of what they're trying to do on offense. Look, they just have to find an identity, right? You have to find an identity and stick with it. And it's not like it has to be, one set thing. It can change. You can have different groupings that you like to go to and switch things around. But I think right now they've been trying to establish that identity. So that's why I feel like sometimes you've seen a lot of 12 personnel and more heavy, personnel groupings and running of the football. Then other times they're trying to drop back, pass, and throw the football a lot more, because I think they still were kind of experimenting on what they wanted to be offensively. But I think now that they have their guy in Jalen Milroe, I fully believe we'll see more 12 personnel. I feel like we'll see more, not necessarily like an old school style of offense, but you'll see more running of the football, more boots, rollouts, things of that nature, some RPOs, some zone reads, just things to move the pocket, get Jalen Milroe in comfortable positions to be successful. So that's what I think we'll see moving forward.
I haven't seen much. I'm looking at on X from Hey Coach to see if anything popped up from the Coach Saban. Nothing right now.
I think he just finished too, right? I think he finishes right around 8. So
yeah, I haven't seen a whole lot of comments from reporters that go there. Real quick though, NFL news. I don't know if you heard, and I thoughts and prayers for sure go out to former Alabama cornerback Trevon Diggs, suffered a torn ACL in practice today, and he is out for the season. So we pray that he'll have a successful surgery and a very quick healing, be able to bounce back next season. So definitely pray for this young man who was having another phenomenal season with that just ferocious defense that the Dallas Cowboys are throwing out there on Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays. So thoughts and prayers with Trevon Diggs, former cornerback of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Mike says, and Saban They trust. Justin says, will Tommy Rees call plays? That is the $1,000,000 question, Justin. So, I mean, and we're going to know very quickly, though. I hope, Christian, you're going to be out there when they flip the coin, right? You go out there with your mic and all of that so that people can hear on the radio the call. I hope Alabama wins the toss and takes the football. Normally they defer.
Yep.
I want them to say, we're going to put pressure on your end all night, Pete Golden. I hope they accept it. Say, kick the ball to us, trot Jalen Milroe on the football field with them big hogs, them big butts, them offensive linemen come woo, 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 and with Jace McClellan and that stable of running backs and say, 12 personnel, here we come. The pre-45, I don't know 45 name, but I like it.
Robbie Oots.
Yeah, Hoots.
Oots. It's like Ouzts, but the Z is silent.
I like it.
Oots.
He's tough.
Yeah.
He's a football player.
He's from your neck of the woods, Rock Hill.
Yeah, South Carolina got no one I like.
Yep.
So the thing is, we don't know what he's going to call, but I will go out there 12 personnel, and I would run the football right at them. I will say, hey, we're going to start the game with 4-minute offense. Give me our 4-minute offense personnel because we are going to freaking set the tone. We're coming to hit you in the freaking mouth. We're going to run the football down here. We're not getting cute. We're not going to try to be fancy. We're not trying to trick you. It's what we do. Alabama football, fast, physical, tenacious. Let's go. That's what I would do. And I will come out there and set that tone early. I will make them commit a safety to stopping the run. And then I'm going to play action you to death. And I'm going to try to hit you over the top. Big plays down the field. That's what I'm going to do. And then if I have to adjust and change as the game goes along, we'll do that. But I'm coming out there, taking that football and say, we're going to set the standard tonight. This is our house, and we own it, not you. And we taking your rent money, Lane Kiffin.
I'm with you. I mean, look, and if Pete Golden and his defenses, let's just struggle
Pete
with
Golden,
the deep.
Man.
But I'm saying, like, if he struggled with the deep balls, which we've seen them struggle with that a little bit, I'm letting them rip too with Jalen Milroe once we set it up. I'm taking those shots without a doubt, and that leads us to this. Mary asks, I haven't watched much of the Ole Miss. I haven't watched much of Ole Miss this season, but who do you think has a better defense all around? I definitely am going with Alabama. I think that's the easy one for me. I mean, I think Ole Miss has done a good job getting after the pass. I think they got 10 sacks through 3 games. Alabama's pass rush came back alive against USF. But overall, man, I think Alabama easily has the better defense. Wouldn't you agree on that one?
Oh, 100%. As I said, this is a patchwork defense that Ole Miss has put together through the transfer portal. So, yeah, they don't have no dudes like that. But if we don't help Proctor and we're not running the football with great consistency, then you can make them look. They made a couple of defensive linemen for Texas look like they were all Americans. Let's just be honest. I mean, a couple of them dudes, they weren't that good, but we made them look like they were Hall of Famers. So hopefully, yes, sir. Hopefully that they'll get things figured out and that whole meeting and all that stuff will work, which I don't normally see those things work quite often, but hopefully, prayerfully,
you hate those meetings. You hate them.
Because dudes would get in there and just start screaming and just saying all kind of stupid stuff instead of just having your leadership council run the meeting and say, this is our list, our agenda, right? We need to talk about this, this, and this. There ain't going to be nobody talking over one another, screaming and cussing. We're going to do this in an orderly fashion. We're all pissed off. This is not who we are. What do we need to do to change and fix it? And you talk about those hard things. Everybody needs to play better. Nobody can go in there pounding their chest and like, hey, not me. No. Everybody on that team needs to play better. And you hold each other accountable in a respectable way. Greg says, Pastor, please say a prayer for our team. Believe me, I am. I don't know that God cares a whole lot about football, but I know he cares a lot about people. And so I'm praying for this team for great health, that we don't have any injuries. And I'm praying that the guys will have a free mind, clear mind, won't be anxious. We've heard that thrown around a lot, that they will play with great peace and confidence. And if Alabama does that, they're the better team. They are the better team. And so that's all they have to do. So I pray more for peace and not be anxious about the stage. And they will go out there and just play with a great freedom.
I'll say this though. I mean, I give credit to Ole Miss's offense. I think they have a pretty decent offense. I like their quarterback. I like their skilled guys. So they match up well in that respect. Defensively, I think we definitely got them guys beat. A gentleman says, I miss the old days when Alabama ran the ball down your throat and only threw the ball around 14 to 17 times. College football is different, man. Especially when we heard Coach Saban, they were asking him about Lane Kiffin. He said this, Lane was the one that kind of came in and helped kind of modernize our offense. So that's when it slowly started shifting kind of from that McWayne style offense. But again, things are different. Everybody operates out of RPOs now, right? You're trying to make plays through the air a lot more frequently. But I'll say this, though, if you do want to run that type of offense, you have to be built for that. You have to have the offensive line, right, that are able to do that. You got to have the workhorse backs. See, we got away with that in 2015 because we had some stout guys up front on the offensive line, and we had a guy known by the name of Derrick Henry running the football. We used to feed him 40 times a game.
Cow.
Oh yeah. So when you that's the recipe for that style of offense, and it can work. And Lane did a good job of dialing up those shots when we needed them, right? He'd aired out our Darius Stewart, Robert Foster, Calvin Ridley, right, when we needed them. So I'm with you. I like that style of offense because to me, that was more so about the message that you send. That is the type of offense that's built to impose your will. You wearing guys down, you laying on those guys, right? That type of offense really, really, gets those defenses. I mean, they don't want anymore. Pastor, you falling asleep, man?
No, I'm reading.
Are you praying?
Yeah. What was that? Greg told me to pray. Now I'm looking to see if Coach Saban said anything.
I thought you were dozing off, man. I was like, dang, Pastor, come on now. But
I got some more chicken wings I got to get into.
That's right. But yeah, no, I'll say this, gentlemen. Like I said, you just got to have the recipe for that. But I like those style of offenses. Again, not just only run the football. You got to be able to dial up some shots, whether it's play action, RPOs. But again, that's how you impose your will on a defense, man. You keep running the football. Those guys, man, you get tired of tackling Derrick Henry 30, 40 times a game. I guarantee you that. I mean, they same thing in the NFL. I mean, he's doing the same exact thing. I love Derrick, man. Arguably one of my most favorite teammates. His work ethic. I mean, the guy.
Are you scared of him?
Hell no, I wasn't scared of him. No, but I mean, dude, I had to get my mind right. No, I wasn't scared, but because I did what I was taught. I did what you taught me when I was young. Go low. Always tackle a big back low. But I'll say this about him though. Derrick Henry, man, for a guy that had elite physical attributes, right, in terms of being 6'3", 245 pounds at running back, like off the charts, creative player-esque build, right? He had all the talent in the world. With all that dude was the hardest worker I ever arguably had been around. I mean, he was a phenomenal leader. He still is like that. Go watch his regimen on social media, man. That dude, all he knows is work, man. That's all he does. I was a young pup, skinny guy, working out every day after practice, trying to gain weight and get bigger. This dude was 6'3", 245, and he was in that weight room every single day with me, working out, doing heavy squats after a Tuesday. We used to call it Hard Hat Tuesday. That's our physical, run emphasis practice. He did all those reps in a Hard Hat Tuesday practice and was in there squatting with Coach Cochran, 400, 500 pounds on his back. I mean, like this dude, when we did fourth quarter program, led every drill, right? I'm talking about was just, ahead of everybody. Like, I'm telling you, man, like that dude had, the skill set and ability of an all-pro football player, but the work ethic of a walk-on. I tell that to anybody I meet. They always ask about me. That dude, he's a dog, man. I'm telling you, there's not.
Well,
they
need more dogs like that, and unfortunately, that's missing in the Alabama locker room. Justin says, "I believe they will be fired up and dominant like old Alabama." I'm with you, brother. I'm with you 100%. And again, I believe that Alabama will turn these things around for sure. I think they're going to play. If you're just not joining us here on the Miller's Edge Extra, I think Alabama's going to play their best game of the season. Nick Saban does not want to lose to Lane Kiffin. He is the last person in the world that he wants to lose to, and Pete Golden, because he knows that will be. I mean, it will be hell to pay for sure. Malik, do Saban review and approve the OC and DC game plan before game day, Christian?
I mean, I'm not in those meetings, but I'm almost positive in some form or fashion, yes, right? It's not like they submit it and then, he reviews it, either approves or denies the game plan. Those coaches meet together. I mean, they meet as a whole staff. They meet offensively, defensively, but theoretically, yeah, he's kind of, he's seeing what we're doing in practice. You heard Josh mention it. Like, they watch these other teams on tape. They see what they like. They look for things that they want to implement in this week's practice. They come up with the game plan. We install it in the meeting room, right? So we go over it. We get the playbook for that week, kind of the idea on how we're going to attack this week, this team. We go out on the practice field. We walk through the stuff pre-practice, see how it looks, kind of, further install it. Then we go out there and practice it for a couple hours. And, and so by the end of the week, they kind of have an idea, like, all right, we did this in practice. We saw these looks versus these other looks. We either liked it, we didn't like it. If we like it, we're going to keep that in. If not, we're throwing it in the trash. So that's typically how it goes. They use the practice week to really install things, and you can add things, take them away at any moment. Then probably by Thursday, Friday, you kind of have that set game plan and have an idea on the calls that you're going to call in this football game. And because you don't go into a football game. I don't know if you guys know this, but you don't go into the game with like every single play in your playbook, right? Like, you install a bunch of plays and packages during camp, but each week you really only go into a game with maybe a quarter of those plays kind of designed specifically for the opponent you're playing that week. So that's typically how it works. But great question, Malik.
A lot of great questions tonight. I love this Thursday Miller's Edge Extra. We're going to continue to pick up steam. I like the whole guest, bringing in a guest with us as well, people that you can hear their thoughts. I really thank Josh McMillan for joining us, because he has so much insight, especially we talked a lot about Pete Golden, because that's a big point of emphasis this weekend, right? Coming into town, being fired. Was he fired, let go?
No, I don't think so. I think he just
coerced to go find another job. However you want to spin it. He's not the Alabama DC no more. However you want to spin that, but Josh, who as well as Christian, played for him, so a lot of good stuff there. They talked about his smarts, his intellect, about devising schemes and things like that. But I did ask a question to Josh. How much was Pete Golden able to implement his scheme, or was it would Saban debunk all that? So if you hit the replay, you watch it later on, parts of it, make sure you subscribe and like. I know we are on the Miller's Edge every weekday, Monday through Friday, I should say, 11 to 12 Central Time. Eastern Time is 12 to 1. We like to rock and roll on that as well. Then we'll do the post-game show on the Miller's Edge Extra Saturday late afternoon. Probably is going to be 2:30, 5:30, probably 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 Central, somewhere along there. Alabama should be grabbing the confetti that's going to fall after they take care of confetti. I'm getting tired now.
You
confetti that's going to fall. Yeah, I'm getting tired. I mean, because I'm sitting here thinking, what in the world happening right now to my New York Football Giants is playing.
Are they playing right now?
Oh yes, second quarter, 10-3. They're in the game.
There you go.
7 minutes to go in the second quarter. No Saquon Barkley, no Thomas, but we're touchdown out. I talked to some folks on the team yesterday as they stayed out in Arizona. They played the Cardinals last week, so they stayed in Arizona, and then they flew over to San Francisco yesterday to play in the game tonight, and then they'll fly back east right after the game. So they'll get back 3-4 in the morning. That's how
Real quick, DG said he's with you, Pastor. He wants to win the coin toss, take the ball, keep it the whole quarter, be up 7-0. I like y'all's game plan, being aggressive and setting the tone early. I like that, but I'll be honest with you, I kind of want to side on the, I'm leaning more so defer. That way we might look. We're coming off of benching the guy, and now he's back in the game. first half might, we'll see how it goes. I hope we can do that, go up on them and set the tone. But I wouldn't be opposed to defer. That way we get the ball in the second half just in case we need to kind of make some halftime adjustments and come out. But
be aggressive.
That's me being a little too conservative. I'm with you.
Steve Sarkisian said he promised his players that he was going to be aggressive. So when it came down to decisions in the ball game, he made aggressive decisions. That's what Nick Saban needs to do. Win the coin toss, accept the ball, and punch these dudes in the mouth. Make their nose bleed. Make them feel Alabama. I know you've been listening to all this foolishness, but this is Alabama.
That's right. Greg said, I love the podcast. Keep going strong. Pray that God continues to bless you both in this program. Great information and foresight. God bless you, Greg. Appreciate it, man. Like I said, we just enjoy hopping on here, sharing our analysis, breaking things down, and letting you guys in on the conversation, answering questions, because that's what we want to do. We want to be able to educate you guys or fill you in and share stuff about our experience and just, talk about the game of football. That's what we all enjoy, right? And that's what brings everybody together. That's a great thing about this game. But we're going on 2 hours, folks. So it's been a long show, but a great one. Again, thanks to Josh McMillan for joining us. Caleb, I see you real quick. This is the last thing, asking about the hat. Yeah, man, if you guys want to, again, I want to do a giveaway for a free hat. Y'all got us to 1,000 subscribers literally over a weekend, which is insane. So thank y'all so much for the support. Everybody that gave super chats. Thank y'all so much. Adam, Tia, Kelly, Michael. I'll make sure I didn't miss anybody. I think that was everybody that shared multiple ones. But thank y'all so much for the support. And everybody, again, if you could just like and subscribe, that helps us out tremendously. But yeah, Caleb, to answer your question, I'll give away a free hat. And we'll definitely get these up so you guys can purchase them if you like them. Again, I got different colors as well. Got Alabama colors. We can work. I can make any one you want. So
what color I got?
You got the black with the crimson, which I like a lot. But I mean, I got the neutral, just white, gray, and black. Y'all tell me what you want. But Caleb, for the giveaway, you got to be subscribed on our YouTube channel. You got to be subscribed on our X/Twitter. And I'll just put up a post real quick or something, just basically saying score predictions for the game. Just go drop your score prediction under there, and I'll pick somebody. Make sure you guys are subscribed on here and following on Twitter, X, and I'll pick somebody and give away a free Miller's Edge hat. But again, I appreciate all the support for everybody. But we're about to head on out of here. I got to go eat dinner. He's about to go watch the Giants game.
Yeah, I got a few more wings to get into. Appreciate everybody.
No doubt.
Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the game. And I pray everybody's safe. If you go into the game, be safe out there. If you're traveling from other places, be safe. I pray for traveling mercies. And again, thank you all for supporting what we do. And
post-game
really
show.
Enjoy. Yeah, the post-game show coming up on Saturday right after the game, probably, again, 2:30, 5:30, probably around 6 o'clock Central, 7 Eastern time. And also, if you're in the mood, the Tide pregame show, 100.9. The Tide, Christian is on there. They have given me an opportunity to come on there as well. We'll talk some more Ole Miss before the game on the Tide 100.9. You can download that app too if you want to hear more. We get a little bit more in detail on that show. So, yeah, it's been a wonderful night. Thanks for all the love. Thanks, Josh McMillan. Love you, brother. And join us tomorrow on the Tide, 11 o'clock Central time with score predictions. Going to be fun. You already know what I think. I gave you a sneak peek. Alabama, the tide is changing. And they're going to move into championship drive. Yeah, that's a prophecy. Alabama would turn things around.
I'm praying that comes true.
Yep, we're going to get up out of here. For Christian Miller, Josh McMillan, and all of you that are listening, and even all of you that's going to listen later, God bless you. I'm the pastor, Payne Corey Miller. Treat everybody right. Love yourself. Love each other. Again, Jesus Christ is King. We'll holler.